Fucking amateurs.
I was touring with Cliff in about 77, and Cliff's prancing around the stage every night, and he said, what I see is my face with a big muff on it.
Ray Russell and Mo Foster are lifelong friends whose careers as session musicians span over 30 years, working with some of the biggest names in rock and pop. Collectively, they've played with the likes of Tina Turner, Van Morrison, Art Garfunkel, Brian Ferry, Phil Collins and Gary Moore,
I would describe
to
Mo
name just a few.
As a dear friend, a great musician, and an original.
Ray Russell. When I met Ray, he was the first person I'd ever met that knew harmonic things that I'd heard on record, but I'd never seen anyone play live. I could suddenly see this is someone I could play with. It made sense. To do session work, you had to bring a lot of different skills. You had to be able to get on with people for a start, be able to play your instrument in time and in tune.
The basic traditional session is 3 hours, and in that time you could play on 4 tracks, actually do 4 tracks. You've got to be technically together, you've got to be inventive. You've really got to understand what the track's about after one listen.
Da, da, da.
Right,
So I'm playing the actual melody part on the guitar.
Okay, great.
But the piano does the cascading.
Yeah. If you had a film session, one day, you come in and you get this, which looks like, as I say in the business fly sheet, and you look at this and you go, okay, and you'd have to read it.
Very often, because it's all written so late, it would be handed out to you, the conductor would count in, you're playing it, and that's it, that's your one go at it, it's in the film. So that was nerve-wracking.
You have to be very together and think very quickly, think on your feet, I guess is the motto of being a session musician. The first time I met Midge was Secret Policeman's of the Ball.
I know we played together with him. I didn't meet him on that gig. There were too many people flying around.
Oh, okay. No, I met him in the in the green room. But as you say, there was a lot of people. It was a star-studded event.
1981.
1981, yeah.
Oh, sorry. It's for you.
It's for me.
So, where did you start off with this, with the business?
In the back of a transit van, I think. That's kind of how it started.
Kind of with us too. Yeah.
Was there a dream? Do you have a dream to do?
I had a dream. Yeah, it was always a dream, but it was fantasy. Just like if you're a kid growing up, you want to be a football player or whatever. I wanted to be in Jerry the Pacemakers. My mother used to say your head's full of broken bottles, and it's true because it was just nonsense. We'd make a good covers band.
That's good. Yeah, we could go. Yeah, I'm sure we could get a gig round the corner from here. Very easy.
I heard that Vienna was the result of a wonderful mistake. He was round at a friend's house, and his friend's wife said, why don't you write a song like Vienna, the Fleetwood Mac song? And she meant Rhiannon, but she just got the name wrong. And it's wonderful. It's one of those fortuitous mistakes that if she'd got the name right, there wouldn't be a song.
We walked in the cold air, freezing breath on a window pane, lying and waiting. A man in the dark in the picture frame, so mystic and soulful. Reaching out on a piercing cry, it stays with you until the feeling is gonna be you and I. It means nothing to me. This means nothing to me. What bits of music mean to them or meant to them. I'm constantly reminded by people that who were conceived to it, come up and say, "My dad told me, that bit that speeds up in the middle of Vienna."
I was going to say that. Yeah,
that was me. So,
yeah.
If you take the component parts away, that heartbeat, synth thing, it wouldn't be Vienna without that. It wouldn't be Vienna without the, the drums and the, those noises. And
but
so it was a real classic.
It wouldn't be Vienna without your friend, would it? Without the mistake.
Without the mistake.
The title.
Absolutely, no. It could have been anywhere. It could have, Scunthorpe. It could have been. I'd never been in Vienna.
So you had never been to Vienna?
I'd never been to Vienna at all. But the mayor gave me a lovely book of photographs because he said I helped put it on the map. I think it was there before I was.
That song, Vienna, it doesn't mean anything to me.
No, and it could have been Bogner, couldn't it?
It could have been Bogner.
Yeah.
Sorry. What's going on?
The very first moment of inspiration was when Miss Williams walked into my classroom. I was age 9, brought a Descam recorder in and said, "Would anybody like to play one?" I was mesmerised.
First musical inspiration was, believe it or not, Lonnie Donegan. He had a guitar. He was one of the first sort of popular artists that were coming out of the era. I just really wanted to play one.
The idea of having an instrument that you could play had never occurred to me. I'd never seen anybody play before. There was no way you could go and see anybody play.
My musical learning back then was the radio. Whatever you heard on the radio, from Telstar to the small faces, because we lived in a tenement. There were no musical instruments to be had. We couldn't afford them if there was such a thing. So that was my kind of musical education, really.
Thinking back to Midge's history in Glasgow and how he knew Phil Lynott back then, and when he got a call to join Thin Lizzy. I think Midge is kind of underestimated as a really good guitar player because people know him more as Vienna and a songwriter and being in the kind of new romantic, and keyboards and stuff. They don't realise, but he did actually. Phil did actually phone him up to go and play with Thin Lizzy.
Amazing.
I don't know if you know this because the Gary Moore left, and it was the very last minute, and Phil, in his way, just phoned last minute, says, "Can you come over to the States?" So Midge, he had to fly over on Concorde with a ghetto blaster, pair of earphones, and the guitar, actually playing on Concorde, learning the tunes.
Brilliant.
So I thought it was a very last minute, typical of this business kind of thing to do.
I think the defining moment for me is probably seeing Dr. No for the first time and hearing the James Bond theme. That whole...
Yeah.
You know, that was just fantastic. So the combination of this, you know, cool spy when you're an 8-year-old kid or 9-year-old kid or something, you know, and that fabulous piece of twangy guitar music.
I saw an advert in Melody Maker for John Barry 7 wanted a guitarist, and I just bought the album and I just put it on and learnt all the stuff and just went for an audition. I lied about my age because I was just 18, and lied that I could read music, and also lied that I could go on tour straight away, and I got the job because no one else could turn up and could play it.
Shall I tell you about my life? They say I'm a man of the world. I've flown across every tide, and I've seen lots of pretty girls. Guess I've got everything I need. I couldn't ask for more, and there's no place I'd rather be. And I just wish I'd never been born.
I've got to ask you about just about Band Aid. Is it true about this 4-string guitar that Bob Geldof brought around?
I think Four's been a bit kind to him.
Is that kind? Okay.
It was a very odd collaboration, I have to say. You know, Bob and I were friends, but had never collaborated on anything musical. And you know, it became fairly obvious that this was probably the one-off that was going to happen. And I went off and sat with my little keyboard in the kitchen and came up with this little riff thing, this jingly bells riff. And Bob turned up 3 days later in my studio with this guitar. And honestly, you know, to say it looked like he got it from a skip has actually been very kind. And it was none of it was pointing in the right direction. This guitar, every time he played it, it was different. You know, it was a different length, it was different words, it was all over the shop. He was just making it up, you know. So I recorded it on a cassette player and sent him away, and then kind of glued these incompatible ideas together. So while I was in the studio playing all the instruments, he was on my phone running up a massive telephone bill, phoning all the artists to bludgeon them into coming and doing it.